We saw videos of some rare public displays of anger, some protests in the streets across various cities in Russia. This has got to be a very unpopular move, sending thousands of people, many from the far eastern regions, to die, to slaughter. How does this end?
I don't know, and I don't trust anybody who says they do know. What I can say so far is that Putin is losing the war in Ukraine. He wouldn't have made this announcement were he to be winning. He's desperate. He did not want to do this. Calling up 300,000 reservists to go fight in a war that a lot of people don't understand why they're fighting is a very dangerous political move, but he thinks it's necessary because he's losing on the battlefield.
I was talking about this with my wife last night, and she asked, how does this end? I said, I don't know, but I guess the best impression I could come up with based on what I'm reading and people like you that I'm speaking with is a group of generals pop their heads up and say, we are the government now. Western world, you deal with us. Putin is no longer in control, and we're now the governing force of the nation. Is there any chance that happens?
There's a chance, but I want to be humble here. We're not good at predicting the future. We in academia are not good at it. The CIA is not good at it either. When they overthrew Khrushchev in a scenario like you're describing right now, in 1964, when the Politburo pushed him out, a Harvard professor was asked, well, why didn't you predict it? And he said, how could I predict it if Khrushchev himself didn't know it was going to happen? So with that caveat said, I think it's important. There are a few things we do know. I don't think anybody's happy about this war. The generals aren't happy. The intelligence forces aren't happy. Society's not happy. The elite are not happy. The business elite especially are not happy. Nobody's winning from this war.
No.
Number two, there's now going to be greater costs as a result of this mobilization, which I suspect will trigger new sanctions. I most certainly hope it does. And that is more costly for the Russian people. And then third, the Ukrainians have confidence now. They are not just fighting a status quo war on the battlefield. They're pushing the Russians out. I don't suspect that's going to stop anytime soon. So you put all those things together, and I think Putin is in a very difficult position. Add one more thing. Even some of his closest allies are not supporting him directly in this fight. And I think he's not in a very strong position right now.
You feel like he's always been, I'm sure you've met him. I met him once in Sochi, Russia for the Olympics as part of like sort of a group thing. Had no impression of the man other than he was shorter than I thought that he might be. Where do you think he is now? Is he in some bunker in Sochi or some dacha outside of Moscow, three stories underground? Because you can only isolate yourself so much before you almost remove yourself from power, especially, to your point, Ambassador, when you're angering all the people around you, powerful people around you.
Well, a couple of things. Yes, he is isolated. He has been for a long time. Even when I was ambassador almost a decade ago, I was also at the Sochi Olympics, by the way, as a U.S. ambassador. We did not have a meeting with Mr. Putin back then because our relations were not in very good shape back then, 2014. They've gotten a lot worse. But even back then, he does live out at his compound outside of the city. He doesn't listen to advisors. He's been in power for 2 decades, right? That happens with autocrats that stay on too long. Most certainly, he miscalculated in deciding to invade in February. I think that is apparent to everybody now. He was told it's going to be a cakewalk. You would be embraced by Ukrainians and Russian speakers that wanted to be liberated. All that was not true. Grossly underestimated the Ukrainian military. But the problem is that once you've made a bad decision, you either stop digging and compromise or you double down. So far, Putin is doubling down. And therefore, I suspect tragically, this war is going to go on for a lot longer.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.